Good evening. Welcome to Monday, August 5th, meeting of the Select Board, Town of Montague. Topics may start earlier than specified unless there is a hearing. Meeting is being taped, votes may be taken, and we are being taped by MCCI for future availability. And is anyone in the audience taking notes?
Yes. Taking notes?
Just notes, yeah, not recording. All right, and I'm Rich Kuklowitz.
Chris Boutwell.
And we have Michael Nelson via telephone.
Yeah, so we'll
Yep, hello.
participating remotely.
And we are the Select Board.
And my name is Steve Ellis, I'm Town Administrator.
Wendy Votis, Executive Assistant.
Okay, first we have approval of minutes of July 1, 8, and 22. And Wendy's been pretty busy as last week. Any notes out to us?
I remember seeing 2 out of the 3, but I'm not sure about the third one.
I'm pretty sure I sent all 3.
I'm not sure I saw it, though.
Okay, let's just, I'll entertain a motion to accept July 1st and 8th.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, we do roll call.
Aye, Nelson, aye.
Boutwell, aye.
Kuklowitz, aye, so voted unanimous. And we'll give it a week, or 2 weeks, and next week we'll do the 27th. Thanks, Wendy. I saw those, but I didn't get a chance to read those. I did put them together. So. We have public comments. Any? Yes, hi.
Hi, I'm Betty Teagle. I contacted Evan George from Mass Office on Disability to conduct an emergency preparedness training in Turner's Falls. Subsequently, Captain Kyle Coswell is helping organize this, and we're going to have a training in Turner's Falls on September 25th from 1 to 3 p.m. at 180 Turnpike Road in Turner's Falls. We are making some outreach. I extend my appreciation to Captain Kyle Coswell to help coordinate and reach out to the fire department's EMTs. And I'm reaching out to the Human Service Organization to get a great, diverse population to attend this workshop. Subsequently, beyond attending, everybody that attends will receive an emergency go pack to take home. This is all free to the community, and I'm going to give you some brochures regarding this. Welcome.
These are for like storm events and just emergency.
It says here ice, electrical, and as you know, we had a recent storm last week, and I feel this is appropriate timing to have people educated, or our community educated, to help take care of themselves and work collaboration with all the departments to work through storms, etc.
Good.
So, and here's
again, what night is that? That's
it's September
25th.
25th, and they're asking people to sign up. All the contact information is at the bottom of the page. The schools will be notified. Human service organizations will be notified. The library's already been notified, so hopefully they will post it. And any information you can put on the town website would be appreciated. There may be limited sign-ups based on seating, so I encourage the board to partake in this.
Great.
Okay.
And this is at the Public Safety Council?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good. I'll give a copy to Wendy for the record. And
Mass Office on Disability will be coming up to conduct this workshop.
Okay.
And I want to thank the fire department for their cooperation.
Okay. You can put it on our website as well. And there's an extra copy if you'd like it for the...
I got one. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have Bruce Hunter, and looking for disbursement number 3, payment of requisitions number 3, Rotary Park improvements, phase 1 to AquaTurf irrigation, in the amount of $15,600.
Yes, this is the third requisition. Majority of the work that they're being paid for is some final grading, pavement for the port in place, and rough grading for the pavilion.
Any questions?
I'll just say I was out at the site today, and can't really thank Bruce enough for, he monitors the project very, very closely, and I just have the utmost confidence when we're paying an invoice related to it that, it has been attended to.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to authorize disbursement number 3, requisition number 3, Rudders Park Improvements Phase 1 to AquaTurf in the amount of $15,660.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Butler, aye.
Nelson, aye. Kuplowitz, aye. So voted unanimous. Next, we have an authorization for disbursement number 3. Invoice number I-190875-IN, Rudders Park Improvements Phase 1 to M.E. O'Brien and Son in the amount of $1,280.
This is the last payment for the materials, the pavilion, playground equipment. This is the swing pad so that we don't scour the wood fiber. The last payment of $39,527 is the best guess at this point for the rubberized surface put in place.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for the final payment to M.E. O'Brien, as previously mentioned, in the amount of $1,280.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Butler, aye.
Kuglowitz, aye. So voted unanimous. Anything else, Bruce?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You did receive a letter on the FY17 grant, the monitoring?
Yes, saying that our monitoring was entirely clean.
Yep.
That's a big part of the services that HRA provides to the town, is
Good.
making sure, and it preserves our eligibility for future grant rounds.
Yes.
It's critically important.
Good.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Thanks
Thank you.
again, Bruce, for all
You're
your
welcome.
efforts. Okay, next we have Fire Chief John Zellman from the Turner Falls Fire Department. Come on down, he's going to give us an update on the microburst event on July 30th.
I'm wearing a different hat.
Emergency management.
Okay, so as you know, we had a storm last Tuesday, the 30th. It was considered a microburst and straight line winds that started in Deerfield, came across the Connecticut River into Montague Center in the area of Meadow Road, South Ferry Road, Mills Ferry Road, and Ferry Road area. There was collateral damage in the center of town and up on North Taylor Hill Road. No injuries were reported. I have a timeline of events that kind of lays it out. At approximately 16:55, 58, multiple calls came in. Wind damage, trees on wires, trees on houses, etc. in Montague Center. I was at another call in Irving at a house fire. So Montague Center responded, thinking it was just a normal storm. Contacted Eversource. Eversource immediately responded, supervisors and troubleshooters. They got on scene, requested a response that I haven't seen in many years. I want to give them kudos and a job well done. We had 810 customers that were affected. There was 12 emergencies that came in on the 911 system. 3 response specialists, the troubleshooters, were dispatched. 7 overhead line crews were dispatched, and 4 tree crews were dispatched, along with the Montague DPW. DPW, same thing. They worked their tails off. So when I got called at, it was about 7 o'clock, I left Irving, responded to Montague Center, met up with the Montague Center fire guys. They told me roughly where most of the damage had taken place. So I proceeded over to Ferry Road. Again, getting through the town at that time was still difficult at best. A lot of roads were closed. But it was nice to see Danny Gavin there. Works for a subcontractor of Eversource. He had shut down Meadow Road area and that way Ferry Road, killed the power, and they just went and cut and cleared. As they cutting and clearing, they were rehanging the wires. Again, it's a response that I haven't seen in a very long time. So they did a great job. So my job was to figure out if we had any injuries, any significant damage to houses. Pretty much the damage to houses were roofing, maybe some fascia boards, etc. We did lose a barn. I believe it belongs to Norris Farms. So they lost an entire tobacco barn that blew from its original spot into the middle of Mills Village Road, or Mills Ferry Road. DPW cleared most of it, but there was part of it still wrapped around a broken telephone pole that was energized. So after the power was cut, we cleared that the following day. We had to work around for the two houses that lived on the end of Mills, which was the Mishkowskis. Other than that, I mean, it was a lot of cleanup, a lot of cutting of large trees. I secured about, let's see, about 10 o'clock that night. Came back 8 o'clock in the morning. We did deploy drones, or SUASs, drones. Greenfield has a drone team, so we had them do an quick aerial view, but weather changed on us. We weren't able to get good pictures, so we came out the following day at 8 o'clock and met with Steve, Bob Berry from MEMA, and we flew and did some mapping. I haven't got that film yet, but we're still working, stitching it all together. We should have that maybe tomorrow. So again, met with Tommy Bergeron and just see what roads we had open, what ones were still closed. We were down to 2. They had gotten Meadow Road open during the night, and then they cleared Ferry Road by the end of the day. And I think we're back open that way. And then just followed up with, again, Montague DPW, Eversource, which worked out good. Everybody worked well together. A couple things that we learned that we need to address is the interoperability with the DPW. We used to have it years ago. Fire went on to the county system, which put us into a different frequency range. And then it looks like we're moving again to another frequency range, so I'm going to have to come up with some radios that will be interoperable with Tommy and the DPW. So they're very expensive. They're called tri-band radios. They're about $8,000 a portable. So it gives us 3 bandwidths that we can deal with, but we'll have to approach that when we go to possibly go to 800 state systems. So we'll address that in the not too near future. And drones were very useful, especially the second day. We got a really good, some bird's eye view of the damage. There were quite a few crops that were destroyed. I'm not sure what the total value of that is. I haven't talked to the farmer since the following day, and he was checking in. So other than that, again, I want to give kudos to Montague Center Fire, Eversource, and the Montague DPW for doing a great job. Yeah. So, any questions for you guys? I think these events are going to continue to happen on a regular basis. I hate to be that way, but weather seems to be changing on us. So
we've certainly seen more weather-related, severely impacted weather-related events over the last several years in ours and other communities. So certainly we need to be prepared.
That is a Doppler radar map of lightning strikes within the Montague Center that night.
Looks like a bomb went off.
Yes, a lot of lightning strikes in that area. So,
Sort of to the point of lightning strikes, there was some other collateral damage, not wind-related, presumed to be lightning-related at the airport. Preliminary estimates of what is known to have been damaged are under $5,000 for the damage. They're still trying to activate software that was on a laptop that was destroyed that will enable them to fully assess the surveillance cameras on the site. But we are in touch with Maya, which is our insurance agency, and the assets were fully insured. And DOT Aeronautics is also pledged to be supportive if we need that assistance. So nothing that is going to present a problem for operations that we can anticipate at the airport. But I wanted to note that that was also affected.
Yeah, we got called up there 9:30, I think, that night. He got some alarms. Just check that. I don't believe the building got hit. Didn't look like it got hit, but somewhere around there did fried up a lot of electronics.
Yes.
I mean, it was a significant storm. We came relatively unscathed. I mean, there's damage, but it could have been a lot worse had it gone a little bit farther south and went through the center, Montague Center, or if it came through the center of Turner's. So.
Good. Thanks for the update.
Yep.
It's pleased, glad to hear all our public service agencies in town
Yep.
responded. Force, police and fire.
Yeah, it was a busy few hours.
So on behalf of the selectmen, I'd like to thank you.
Yep. Your DPW and Eversource and Montague Center Fire Department. Yep, did a great job. Okay.
Hey, Rick, I would second that. I, as you know, was on the ground and available at the disaster area for any needs that the emergency responders needed on behalf of the town. And in my day job, I've responded to a lot of incidents, and I gotta say, this particular incident was definitely one of the most well organized, despite the radio issue that the chief just talked about. It was definitely one of the most organized and fastest responses I've ever seen. So, as the chief said, I definitely give a huge kudos to Eversource and DPW for doing just a great job in responding.
Cell phones worked that night, so
Thank you.
that's how we can.
Good thing it's cell phone. Yeah. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Okay, next we have a discussion on the agreement between the town of Montague and Montague Community Cable Incorporated, who is our PEG access provider. I think that's on my plane there. So I can give just a quick background, and then I'll say prior to this meeting, we had a cable advisory committee meeting at 5:30 and reviewed the contract. As some folks might remember, we typically have a 10-year, so we had proposed a 10-year agreement with MCCI. We split that into a 3-year kind of, let's see how things are going, or see a few concerns. And this is now at the end of the 3 years. We're a little bit over the date, but we've been working with MCCI, and I think Cable Advisory has had this will be our 4th meeting in the last 4 or 5 months. So we've been, not actively, but we've been meeting and reviewing, and we've had a good review, and we've had a good meeting. And prior to this meeting, the CAC committee voted to send this forward to the select board for their
I'm just saying that the terms are substantially the same. It's a no jeopardy contract for the town of Montague in terms of the resources come from Comcast. If there's any change in the level of resources provided, that affects MCCI's operations, which would have potentially a detrimental effect on community access television and transparency of our meetings and the like, but doesn't expose us to any specific financial risk otherwise. The contract is a 7-year term. It is set to align with the fiscal years, so its effective date will carry us through June 30th, 2026. And aside from that, changes to it are really border on the trivial.
Housekeeping.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So we worked the contract through. It has been approved by legal, and
Michael, any questions? Chris?
No questions.
Is this the document that you guys discussed past couple days?
This is the one that was provided in the packets. It is simply the contract formalizing our agreement with MCCI.
Okay, I'm going to abstain solely because I haven't had the opportunity to look at it because I've been on vacation.
Okay. So like Steve said, it really is minor changes to the one we already have. Subsequent to this, we've also had a review, which is a different part of the discussion, but overall, I think we've had good service, so again, the
Yeah,
board recommended.
I suspect I would vote in favor of it if I had the opportunity to look at it.
Sure.
But I just don't feel comfortable voting on it without having seen it.
No, it's a
I'm
rather
sure
lengthy
otherwise.
document with about 9 pages. So, anyway, I will make a motion that the board authorize the chair to sign the extension of the agreement for the remaining 7 years with MCCI and move it forward to town for ratification.
I will second that.
And I will just clarify that town meeting has already granted us the authority to enter into this contract, so there's no further approval
Oh,
necessary.
okay.
That was an annual town
Say
meeting
chairman,
motion.
because it's for all of you to sign.
Oh, is it for all?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the committee to sign, sorry. So I'd like to make a friendly amendment to my motion, just saying for the committee to sign. All right.
I'll second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Will I?
Kukulowitz, aye.
Nelson abstain.
Okay. Great, all right, thank you.
Thank you. See you soon and often.
This way, Next, we have Cassandra Holden from Laudable Productions. Chair.
There we go. So you have a generous stack of material that you have received in the last week. We have more. But wait, there's more. And I also have the permit from New City Brewery that was approved at the last meeting, but, okay. But, and the check is in there as well. So that's the hard copy.
Okay. All right. So this is request to place a sign in front of or near the Shea Theater.
Yes.
Okay?
And Linda Tardif from the Shea Theater is here as well.
I'm here.
So this will be kind of on the corner, right in front of the Shea, kind of that little spot.
Yeah,
where
there's that
people-
concrete pad next to the little parklet, I guess you
Yeah.
call it.
Mhm.
And the unit would be placed diagonally so that it would be visible to both pedestrians and automobile traffic.
This is kind of a visualization of
Yes,
what it
that's,
would look like.
yes.
And Steve was telling me this is an interesting technology.
It is, so it's solar powered. It gives you the capacity to charge a cell phone. But because the screen requires very little power, we can show, advertisements, city announcements, things like that.
The screen itself is manufactured by E-Ink, which is has one of their operations in South Hadley, and they manufacture like it's called
E-paper.
E-Ink, but it's what you have in a Kindle reader. So it's a monochrome screen that doesn't emit light, that can be read in the daylight.
How much does the whole thing weigh?
That's a good question. Yeah.
I think I included that in the specs. I can look that up for you. It's aluminum, so it's actually not super heavy.
Well, the reason I'm asking, I'm just wondering if we have a storm that goes through, is it gonna end up over?
It's rated up to 80 mile per hour
Over on
winds.
the bridge or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good sized base, it looked like.
Yes.
Part of where the seats and the platform too are.
It is a heavy structural base. There's a base and then there's a base under the base that you can
Yes.
see. We actually met with a couple of folks from the company, both on the technology side and on the, I guess, business marketing side.
Yes.
Of the structure, and left very confident that it was something that, I should also note that these are in locations in like Times Square and other places where security of the item, durability of the item, ability to fly through a crowd at 100 miles an hour in wind, et cetera, have to be measured and thought of. This is a temporary installation for really
So
only
this-
about a week, right?
Yeah, this would be about 10 days.
Yeah.
A week to 10 days, and then that would be this part of the installation. Assuming it is favorably received by the community, we'd like to bring it back in advance of Cider Days and Pumpkin Fest.
All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to allow the use of public property for placing of the said sign August 10th through August 17th as described in front of the Shea Theater.
I'll make that
So
motion.
moved.
Okay, motion's made, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nelson, aye.
Bowell, aye.
Kuklowitz, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to, that was the only
They did provide our,
updated parking plan?
An updated parking plan for the festival.
Okay.
And the
And you should have received all of the electrical and building permits relevant to the stage and the generators and everything else.
okay, and you got them into people as
Yes.
PDFs
Yes.
specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
and just to put a
So the mini mart, then 34 South Street, and then 419 Greenfield Road.
yeah.
Yes.
And folks are going to walk from those locations to the event, or?
So, well, there are actually two different paradigms. So that at the DeGillis property, Mike is putting together a hayride shuttle. So a hay wagon that will transport people back and forth.
Okay.
And the.
He's working on that, so this has not been finalized yet. He would like to do this, so he's working on this.
Yeah, he's expressed his interest in that, but people will walk from the property on Greenfield Road.
Do you know why he dug the hole in the middle of the field?
No, I didn't get a good answer for that.
How are they gonna access that?
So there is,
I drove by like 5 times today, and there's 2 roads off of South Street, but looks like they're gonna have to trim some trees, and there is no access off of Route 63.
Yeah, it would
Wait, it
come
would
in
be
off
ac-
that South Street along that tree line there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there's, like I said, I saw that there were 2 inlets, but they were pretty narrow, and if someone has a nice car, it's gonna get all scratched up.
yeah, I
So
think if he
it's-
mows a bit more, that,
And then trim some of the trees, okay.
Brennan
Yeah.
had answered. Yeah, he is planning on
Yeah,
trimming
sure.
those trees
Okay,
out, yeah,
okay.
so that it's clear and it's gonna, there'll be a sign clearly marked.
So people definitely know where to
Someone
go.
with a big stick
Yeah.
that flashing people in.
Okay.
And there was a question about staffing, so there'll be 3 people who will be in radio communication at each parking
Each place,
location.
okay, okay.
One to control the access and then 2 to get cars oriented in the right way.
Because I think the addition of the Greenfield Road, or Old Greenfield Road, is good.
Yeah, and
It's a
it's.
lot more space, and it's an easier walk, I think.
Yeah, and we'll also position a couple of volunteers with flashlights and so on along the way, so there'll be
Okay.
wayfinders. So they'll be there all day, but certainly, in the evening,
Right.
they'll be able to help people find their way.
Good.
but that brings the majority of our festival pedestrians past the book mill, which I think will be,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
good for those establishments.
Good, you have a question, Mary?
Yeah, sorry to be a late listener to the conversation. Which festival is it and what day?
This is Barbez in the Woods, August 17th.
This is the Barbers in the Woods, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, thanks for that update, everything look
Yeah.
okay to you, chief?
It does. Well, we had a conversation earlier today.
Good, I
I-
appreciate your communications.
Sorry,
Steve?
I apologize. I just want to mention that Chief Hansen also said that he walked the grounds and has, no concerns. He feels good about the preparedness of the site from the Montague Center Fire Department standpoint.
Yeah, he has 2 teams that will be on site.
Okay.
And only because I've been asked the question now.
Yes.
Montague residents will have an opportunity to purchase tickets.
Yes,
All
all
Montague
Montague, all Montague residents can access a $20 ticket at the village store.
At the village store, okay.
Yeah, so you just leave your name and your email address and we'll email you a ticket.
Right,
You
that's a
need-
really
You need some proof of
substantial-
residency.
Yes, so you need a driver's license or some other proof of residency.
That's a huge discount,
Yes.
so.
The question I have.
Yes.
Hi, I'm just getting familiar with where the activity is. And my expertise is disability. And so I was curious whether there's some temporary signs close to the site that you can post for people with limited mobility.
Yeah, it's a great question.
I've seen some functions where people put them up and, so they can get to the event easily. Some people may not be able to get on the hay wagon because of their mobility issues. So I just wanted to plant that idea for you.
Yeah, that's great. And we actually, so there are actually some very limited, but there's some parking right on the property itself that's really reserved for handicap access.
Excellent.
And this is a fully accessible event too.
Oh, excellent. I'm
Yeah,
really
and it's
proud.
also possible, you know, you could, for someone who doesn't have a handicap placard, they could be dropped off at the event, and there's
Oh,
a
great.
gentle sloped walkway in.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. And we do have a note from Fire Chief Montague Center, David Hanson, saying that he's met with you folks and everything. Everything looks good.
Great.
Good.
All right.
Okay. All right, so did we take a vote on our motion to allow the sign, Wendy? Okay. I thought so, but just want to be sure. Okay, very
Super.
good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next is Walter Ramsey. Information regarding Avenue 8 redevelopment. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Walter?
Good evening. So I'm here tonight to request authority from the board to issue a request for expressions of interest for 38 Avenue A, also known as the former Cumberland Farms property. So the EDIC, the Montague Economic Development Industrial Corporation, is owners of the land. They had met a few weeks back to talk about where we go from here with the property, given that Crabapple Whitewater has backed out of the project for now due to delays in the relicensing process of FERC. So this is prime real estate in downtown Turners Falls. The local market's doing quite well, and Turners has a good reputation. So the board felt like now was a good time to put out a formal request for expressions of interest. There's been a number of nibbles at the property and interest at different levels. This gives us an opportunity to see what's out there in the marketplace and be able to compare them in an apples to apples manner.
Okay.
And it's just that, it's a request for interest. So the EDIC has the authority to select one of these proposals and work directly with them to sell the property.
So it's not necessarily a bid per se? It's
Correct.
more of like, this is our concept and this is how we might execute, and then that might elicit further discussion, is that the way?
That's right. It's less commitment than a formal request for proposals process, but it's what's allowed through.
Like a first step.
Yeah, yeah, and the specific. They're putting forth the vision that the community has for the property as articulated in the 2013 livability plan, which there was, at that point, there was a lot of strong community support for a mixed-use new building at the site, with commercial on the first floor and office or residences on the upper floors. And so we're putting that forth as the vision. It's not limiting proposals to that, but we're putting that forth as the community's aspiration for the site.
So it's not necessarily, I guess I'm not trying to put word, but not necessarily predicated on trying to reuse the existing building, or is it?
No, the clear preference based on the community support vision is for a new structure there, with a more intense use, multiple layers on the building levels.
Well, we met with a couple of commercial real estate developers in recent months. Their recommendation was to start that site with a clean slate based on the condition and the relative value of the former Cumberland Farms building.
It'll be interesting to see. I know at one point you did quite a bit of work to envision that as a potential site for a senior center. And so it'll be interesting to see what developers have that, be an interesting vision.
Yep, it could very well be senior housing on upper floors, with commercial on the first floor, but we'll let the greater market just kind of decide what that can bear.
Good.
How
Okay.
many floors allowed
So,
at that location?
so the RFP's worded so that it would fit the existing kind of downtown streetscape. So your tallest buildings downtown right now are 3 stories high. The old Farron, the historic building that was there, was 4 stories, but so probably around 3 stories would fit with what's downtown.
On that same footprint?
The Farron?
No, on the same not on the same footprint as the Cumbies. Yeah, or
You're not restricted to the same footprint as the
That's right, I
existing
didn't think so,
building.
yeah, right.
You
That's
can
what
use
I
the whole,
was-
it's
just
a,
to
it's
clarify, yeah.
a third of an acre site, and you
Right.
can use that
That's
whole footprint.
what,
It would feel strange in the sense of when I think of that parcel, I think of it as more akin to the Discovery Center, which is very low profile. So I hope, I don't know, I hope somehow it
Well,
can
we'll
be
see what
integrated.
comes out.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to authorize Walter to continue to solicit requests for information relative to redevelopment of 38 Avenue A.
I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, have a motion and a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Bowell, aye.
Nelson, I.
Kuklowitz, aye. Okay, so voting unanimous. Okay, anything else for us, Walter?
No, last time I was here, I got your authorization to submit the MassWorks grant, which is due this Thursday. I have got some updated plans since then, if it's something you want to look at. It's not a topic that was on the agenda, so I'm happy to.
It's going okay?
It's going fine, yeah, it's just,
good.
yeah.
Why don't you give us an update at our next meeting if we can
Sure.
fit it on the agenda?
Sure.
And then by then you'll have submitted the application.
Yep, it'll be a complete package, yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but it's coming along well. It's gonna be a
Good.
really strong
Good,
application,
no,
I think.
no,
No surprises, things are going well. Just, we
the
have
firm we've, engaged to do the work for us.
the engineering firm they're doing very well. I'm very impressed with their
Good,
work,
good,
yeah.
good. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Next on the agenda is a request from Michael Nelson, DBA of the Great Falls Festival, to conduct a volunteer toll booth as a fundraiser for the Fall Festival. The fundraiser will take place on October 19th. Volunteers will be wearing bright reflective clothing. This is the intersection of Avenue A and 7th Street. Provided documentation. This is similar to what you've done in the past, Michael?
Yes, that's correct. So I'm obviously going to take off my Selectboard hat for a moment and recuse myself.
Okay.
Yes, this is the same as we've done for the past 10 years. Incredibly, this is the 10th annual event. And so we will be doing our normal thing.
And you'll provide insurance certificate to Wendy, or I don't see one here, but usually.
Oh, that's
have
for the
that.
toll.
Yeah, it usually comes closer to the event. So.
All right. Any questions, Chris?
Nope, just
So-
formerly known as Pumpkin Fest.
Formerly known as
Question.
Pumpkin Fest.
Question?
Now the Great Falls Festival, yes, Betty.
I just have one question. In the past, I've seen mothers with young children and some of these fundraisers, and since they're on the street, I would prefer that they would be just adults.
I think that's what I've seen. Michael, this would be just adults, there wouldn't be any children or anything, right?
Oh, absolutely no children, no.
What?
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the request for the toll booth on October 19th.
No, it's September 28th, we were told.
Oh, I'm sorry. That the festival is the 19th. The date of assembly is September 28th. Begin at 9 a.m. end approximately at noon. Around 6 participants, and again, Avenue A and 7th Street intersection.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Bowell, aye.
Kuklowitz, aye. And Michael recused himself. Okay, thank you. Next is executive assistant business. Wendy.
So we received a letter from the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, and they'd like to know who we would like for the select board representative for the Franklin Regional Planning Board. And it says it can be, one is a select board member or their designee, and then you also have someone appointed through the planning board. And her name is escaping me at the moment.
Do we currently have a designee?
So,
Can we designate Walter?
I think it would make sense for the board to inquire as to whether there was something that Walter thought made sense. I mean, you can designate him outright.
Let's
But-
see.
He
We
may
could
want that evening free.
appoint him by.
Here comes Walter now.
The discussion, Walter, is around the representative to the Franklin County Regional Planning Board. Would you be willing to be the board's representative on that too? I don't think they meet that often, do they?
It's bi-monthly, I think.
I already have a planning board member that represents the Montague Planning Board on that committee. I would need to think about that. I'm not sure if staff goes to those,
Okay.
but let me look
Think
into it a
about it,
little bit
okay.
more, okay?
All right, that sounds fair. Is that okay with you, Michael?
Sorry, I couldn't hear what Walter said.
Walter said that he's not sure that staff typically participates. He's going to check into it. And we can put it on our
Okay,
next
yeah, that's-
agenda. It's fine with me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Good, thanks, Walter. All right, and next is execute a memorandum of understanding with Franklin County Solid Waste District for regional household hazardous waste collection.
Mr. Chair, I'll recuse myself from this since I'm vice chair of the district.
Okay, it looks like this is the typical annual event that takes place this year on Saturday, September 21st. 2 collection sites. I believe they're the ones that they've used before, Greenwood Community College and the Orange Transfer Station. And it looks like Montague's cost is $5,500 for participation. And there's more information on the Solid Waste Management District website as to what folks can bring to that.
That's the total budget that the town's allowed to spend.
It's $5,500 is what we allocated.
So
Okay.
what would happen if there were more?
Jan keeps track of everything that comes in.
Okay.
And by units, and there's a cost associated with this. I mean, if you bring one item in, there's a unit cost for that one
Sure.
item.
Okay.
We've typically been okay with the amounts we've had.
Yes.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion, and Chris has recused himself, to execute the agreement, memorandum of understanding for hazardous waste day on September 21st.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Counselor Knight?
It's aye. 2 in favor, 1 abstention.
Michael, can you stop in and sign the form? Please,
How quickly do you need it?
like this week, if you're
Oh,
not.
yeah, I can definitely, yeah, sometime this week I can definitely come in.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, town administrator business.
Sure. One thing that's on the agenda and another topic not anticipated that I'd like to address. So start with the first piece of good news. We have a contract here. I'm asking to request that the board execute an agreement with Adams and Ruxton Construction Company for work on the Millers Falls Library in the amount of $12,000. This contract was awarded through competitive procurement. We had 4 bids. I recounted those at our last meeting, I believe. Came in about $8,000 under the town meeting appropriation. And they're poised and ready to begin work most likely next week, although we've given notice to the libraries and our DPW team that there's a chance that they could potentially come in this week.
Okay, any questions? motion to execute that contract for the Village Hall Library.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Powell, aye.
Nelson, aye.
Kukovic, aye. So voted unanimous. Okay. Topics not anticipated.
Yes, the other thing that I would like to bring to your attention, we weren't necessarily anticipating that this would be available as quickly. The request for a change order from Renaissance Builders relative to the Colley building project, which is in its final phases. The concern is that waiting on this particular motion until our next meeting, which is 2 weeks from now, would substantially delay completion of the project. And so I actually asked our site supervisor and preservation architect, Chris Sawyer, to tell us what this is about. The request is for a $5,324 change order, and it's all about improving the brownstone. And if you'd like to come up
And Michael, Chris has brought a brick with him to
This is not
further
a-
persuade us.
This is not a night to miss, Michael.
Sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the great architect Philip Johnson once said, buildings are made of bricks and boards, not words. I do have a few words, but the change order was one that I actually initiated. Two issues with the stone aggregate, sometimes called the brownstone, is that their mold had begun to form some time ago. With all the humidity we had this winter and spring, and now with the heat, the mold is rapidly increasing. And it looks like black oil is what it looks like on there. We want to prevent that from happening again. And so we've come up with two solutions. One is basically to abate the mold and basically eliminate it. There's a particular product that I have recommended and that Renaissance and Scott Allen, their masonry contractor, is happy with, which is called Shield Green. It basically goes into the stone itself, pulls the stuff from the inside out, and then actually strengthens the stone while it's doing it. It's a pretty amazing product. It also comes with a pretty amazing price. It's about $339 a gallon. Scott estimates he'll probably need around 2 to 3 gallons, because we're not just going to, I said don't just treat where the mold is, treat everything, because we don't know where else it might be. Then we're going to coat it, and so that, as anyone who has been down by the Colley knows, those pillars outside constantly shed, and it's also led to cracking and spalling and all sorts of other issues.
And this is on the 3rd Street.
On the 3rd Street side, but it also wraps around onto Avenue A. So it's in the front of Avenue A and then along 3rd Street. Most of the mold, weirdly enough, is on 3rd Street. A friend of mine who's actually did Cambridge City Hall a couple years ago, I was asking him about coatings because I haven't been pleased with what's been available, and he told me about a new product, or a relatively new product, new to me, which is actually made by the same company that created the mortar and did the mix to repair the columns themselves. And it's a pretty amazing coating. We did I got the representative Corey Davis down. Scott Allen and I had a good session with him, and we did 2 coatings on the brick, and we did them too quickly. They should take 24 hours in between, but you can sort of see what the effect is, and then Scott will texture this to match the original texture of those columns. So it's this is about $625 for a 5-gallon custom mix. probably 2 to 3 gallons, and so the change order reflects about half of it is
2 to 3 gallons or 2 to 3
2 to
buckets?
2 to 3 buckets. I'm sorry, so about 15 gallons probably, and so it will be about half the cost of the change order is these materials. I have very good faith that this will keep that building from disintegrating for a very good long time, and we won't have to be doing it again. I did get some more information since I talked to you this afternoon from Stephen. He will provide a complete breakdown within the next day or so. He just couldn't get to it today because he was in Northampton.
Right.
The product information I have, if anybody wants it, I can certainly share that. So I'm asking you basically to approve it, but with the understanding that Stephen will provide more details as to the breakdown of the costs.
Stephen Greenwald.
Stephen Greenwald, yeah,
Yes.
from Renaissance.
Okay, and this fits within budget?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
We are still less comfortably than before, but still comfortably within our budget.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to authorize change order number 3 for the masonry work as described by Chris O'Connell in the amount of $5,324.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Bowell, aye?
Kuklowitz, aye. Nelson? Still there? Michael?
Aye.
Nelson?
Okay. Sorry you missed the brick, Mike.
And our expected completion date is?
Yes, our expected completion date. I can just give you a brief update on what's going on now. The windows on the 3rd Street side required extensive repair, more than I had been able to ascertain standing across the street with binoculars and poking my hand out the window. And, they are now completed. They did an absolutely beautiful job. They're painted, and I encourage everybody to go by and take a look at them. I talked with Corey Davis at Compico, who makes this compound. He said they can once this gets approved, they can mix it up within the next day or 2 and get it down. They'll truck it down. They're just in New Hampshire. It's not that far away. The lift will be moved in the next, depending on how things move this week, but probably by early next week it will actually be moved on the sidewalk and will be pretty much right in front of the cutlery block, which I have alerted the Housing Authority to. I'm in touch with them, in order for the masonry to be done up on the top of the next to the cutlery side, where the cutlery and the collie join together. The basement windows will be taken care of this week. I believe the grates are being removed, and the guy who's doing that is back from vacation tomorrow. He is in touch already with Jim Blightman at DPW about removing the grates, and so the DPW apparently, from what I understand, does not have to remove them. They just have to be notified that they're being removed.
Okay.
So that was what I was told, at least. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good, excellent. They're doing an excellent job.
They are. It's going to be beautiful.
Strikes me with Renaissance doing the work that the ownership and the repair of the building have kind of come full circle.
Yes, it really has, and Stephen and I have some good laughs about that once in a while. The work is expected to be completed by the last week in August, at this point they still are on schedule. They've slipped a couple of days because of this, and this has added on obviously some more work, but they're able to do it. So
well, it's looking great, and it's good to see that they're taking care of that.
yes, yeah.
I'll just note, if you don't mind, Chris, just updating FRTA to let them know of the change in the end date, because they were expecting around this week.
I know.
And we'll just note that Chris, thankfully, is also going to be involved in construction supervision on the Shea Theater and the Town Hall Annex roof. We have our pre-construction meeting this Friday morning.
Yeah, we're making him work on Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, better yet, I'm supposed to be packing for my 25th
Yes, I
wedding
know.
anniversary
I know.
trip that morning, yes.
And so what
But
do we
it's all
do? We
good.
decide, oh no, we'll have a meeting Friday morning. Yeah,
No, it'll fit in perfectly.
and I appreciate it.
And
We
we are
all-
expecting to start on the Shea on or about the 26th of August?
Right. We were, they had some blackout dates, and we'll see how this all comes together at the meeting. Although, I did have a phone call from Tim saying that they might flip it and do the annex first, because they might have a crew ready sooner. But I said, let's talk about it on Friday.
Okay.
I certainly can't tell you
All right,
right
sounds
now
good.
what we're gonna do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
And now I have to go put the brick back.
One more project.
Yes.
We received word that, the representative's budget, earmark for the Unity Fieldhouse was included in the FY '20 final budget. And this came from Lily Wallace, who is Representative Blade's assistant.
Yes, so we're really excited. As some people are aware, the Unity Park Fieldhouse roof was among those several roofs in this town that were in need of repair, are in need of repair. It has several active leaks, and we are hoping to present to special town meeting this fall an article for the repair of that roof, which we anticipate will probably be between $85,000 and $100,000. We had a conversation about this with Representative Blay earlier in the spring, and there is some ability on occasion for small earmarks to be written into the state budget. And she was kind enough to solicit that this $25,000 earmark, successfully I might add,
Oh, really?
for the
Good.
town. So
It's kind of interesting to read these. All these are, this is a whole cake of little, this for this town and this for that town. And
So we're very fortunate, and we cannot thank Representative Blay's office and her assistant, her chief of staff, Lily Wallace, enough.
Right, yes, please share. Good, thank you, Steve. All right, and do you have anything else for topics not anticipated? I do have a note here from Montague DPW. While schedules can change due to weather and contractor availability, we anticipate continued road milling and repaving on Main Street, Center, South Street 47 will begin on Tuesday the 23rd of July, ongoing to the end of the week, and traffic will be substantially affected by this work. These details will be on site. Travelers may wish to see alternate routes. So this is to finalize some of the work that they've done already, I think.
Have you driven through Montague Center lately? This is done.
Yeah,
This
I
happened
did.
before the tree fell.
That says July 23rd.
Okay, I drove there and I'm thinking like, what more do they
It's
have
like,
to
it's
do?
looking really good.
Tom told me it was done.
Lines, they haven't
Thanks, Tom.
striped lines in the road.
This is the one that I was supposed to read last time, maybe.
Right.
Okay, now we take care of that.
They may not strike again.
We have no need for executive session?
No, sir.
So I will announce our next regular meeting is on Monday, August 19th, same place, same time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn until then.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Just to clarify it correctly, there's no executive session?
Correct.
Very good.
All those in favor of adjourn?
Bowell, aye?
Nelson, aye?
Kukul's aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8 p.m. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you,
Thank you,
ladies and gentlemen.
Michael.
Appreciate it.
Hey.